What's up, everybody? It's Scotty, Evel KeStriegel. We're back with another ride video today at Indian Motorcycle of Clarksville. It's hot as sin out here, 97 degrees, sweating it up. We're going to ride a really cool motorcycle today. We're taking out a new Indian Super Chief Limited. Pretty excited. I love these bikes. I haven't ridden one in a while. I haven't ridden one since they launched it, actually. And I really like this black one they've got on the demo truck out here today. So we're going to take it out, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I think about it. And yeah, let's get into the saddle of this thing. First, let's look at it. So here it is. This is the 2023 Indian Super Chief Limited. It's going to come with the 116 cubic inch V-twin, air-cooled, chromed out. I dig it. Leather. They are hard bags, not lockable. It's got this beautiful, I think they call this a crystal azure. It's like a black, but it's got a blue hue to it in the sunlight. There's all the features that come with this bike, the way it sits. There's the pricing. Black metallic is what this one is colored as, so $21,499. And it's got the smart display up here. So this is going to have your ride command, which is Indian's or Polaris's GPS system. It is GPS navigation, ride modes, you name it, windshield, cruise control, ready to rip. All right, let's get it on the road. Just look at how cool this screen is when it kicks on. Indian Motorcycle. It's going to show us our little ride command prompt here in just a second. I'm almost certain of it. There we go. Okay. Here's your screen. Sort through your different things here. That's going to tell you you've got your USB connection. This is going to be your bike status. That's your ride, the current ride, how much ride time it's had today at the demo truck. Here's your GPS navigation, which is pretty sick. Look at all the stuff you've got right here on this little screen. Pretty epic. There we go, it was just showing us. There's where we are. And that's where you would connect your phone. Bluetooth, epic. All right, so we're gonna go back to gauges and start our ride. We are off. So I haven't ridden a Super Chief since they launched. When they launched the new Chief, I guess it's been 2 years ago now, I did ride the first Super Chief that we got in stock at the dealership because I was in love with it. I do tend to like more classically styled motorcycles. So when they launched this bike, I was like, oh yeah, that's the one. They had like this really cool, I called it like a root beer color. I really liked that bike. And yeah, I was really stoked on it. It's kind of got all of the styling that I prefer, that like 50s kind of heritage styling. If you know, I own a Triumph Bonneville, so I'm definitely into that era of motorcycling. And I just really appreciate how much Indian kept it in that era, from just, you know, from top to bottom. It's got the leather bags, you know, they don't lock. You know, some bikes you get now, they've got a leather bag, but it actually locks. This bike's bags do not lock. But it's not a real problem to me. It's got just enough bag space to keep everything you would need in it for like a longer ride. Another thing I really like about the Chief lineup in general is having the almighty and powerful cruise control right there. Big bonus to me. And I like that this bike has the smart display, which we took a look at the top of the video. It's got, you know, every piece of information you could possibly want on it, plus navigation, which is super cool. I'm not a guy that takes long motorcycle rides, really. But if I were going to, it's nice that this bike has that option. And I like that this bike comes standard with the 116. So this is going to have the bigger Indian air-cooled engine, 120 foot-pounds of torque. She's a pretty nasty beast. I'm kind of reading off the features this thing's got. So it's going to come again with the touch screen, ride command, keyless ignition. It's got a key fob, cruise control. We got Pirelli Night Dragon tires standard on this beast. And it's full front to back LED lighting. That's really nice. It's got those cool two little, like, I don't know what you would call those, driving lights on either side of the headlight up front. Looks really good and old school. I dig it. And I actually dig the windshield on this bike. You know, usually a windshield on a motorcycle, I don't like the way it looks. I think it hinders the looks of the bike. But on this particular bike, because of the way that it's styled, I think it actually works. It actually looks really good. And it just fits the all-together motif of the motorcycle. And what's really cool about the way Indian mounts these things is it's basically a quick release. You can take it on and off. So maybe if you're going on a shorter ride and you don't want that windshield, or maybe you just don't like the way the windshield looks, but you want it for when you need it, you can take it on and off. It's not a big deal. I do get a little bit of buffeting up here on the top, so I kind of wish it was just a hair taller, or maybe it kicked out a little bit to get some of that air off the top of my head. It's not bad, but I think on a longer ride it could get a little annoying. So that's something to look at. Obviously, on the freeway, we're not going to have any problem. I mean, this bike it's got 116 cubic inches of beast between your legs. And it's a light motorcycle. I don't know the exact weight. I'll put that here. But for being such a big engine, I mean, this is the same engine that you're going to get in the Chieftain, in the Springfield, and in the Roadmaster. And this is the big version. It's not the 111. Again, this is the 116. So you're getting all of that power that you get out of those bigger motorcycles, but in a smaller, full steel frame chassis. This is not going to use the engine as part of the structural integrity of the motorcycle. It is actually a full frame motorcycle. And I have to say, you know, this is kind of the bike that steps up from the Scout before you get to, say, a Springfield. And it is a lot more comfortable than the Indian Scout. I love the way a Scout looks, but the way that those shocks are set up, it's not a very plush ride. And you've really got to put the piggyback shocks on the Indian Scout, I think, to make it feel a little more comfortable. Where on this bike, you could go the route of the Sport Chief, but that bike's actually stiffer, the way that suspension is tuned. So it's actually not as comfortable, I think, as this motorcycle. This bike floats. It feels very good, which I think is usually the selling point for an Indian motorcycle over, say, a Harley-Davidson, is just the shock performance that you get right out of the box. I mean, when you get on a Chieftain or a Springfield, it's like night and day versus the Road King or the Street Glide. It's just so much nicer when I'm talking about the way the rear suspension performs. And if I'm being honest, I think the bikes corner better. If we're talking about, you know, cornering on a big bagger, but they handle very nice. And I urge you to ride one if you get the chance to do so. All right, well, we'll talk about how this bike corners when we get up here into this corner section. So until now, I'll see you in the future. Okay, so we're getting into the corner section a little bit here. This motor feels so good. And it sounds very good. So it's about 97 degrees today. And I have to say, these bikes are getting hot. They're getting ridden a lot. But man, look at that. It feels so good in these corners. The side to side, it's so light, and you can really feel the smaller chassis with that big engine in it, because it is nasty. But it's so effortless leaning into these corners. And you really feel like you could ride this bike pretty aggressively, even though it's got floorboards, which, you know, I mean, really, the more I ride, the more I just like a bike like this. It's really comfortable. I like the beach bars. I know everybody and their brother and sister, chicks ride too, wants the bars way up here, right? They all want the ape hangers. They want the high-rise handlebars. They want the T-bars, right, like that's on the Sport Chief. But for me, I don't know if it's just my personal, like, shoulder issues that I have dealt with, all the injuries I've had, but for me, you can't beat a set of beach bars. They just feel so good. I feel like I could ride this bike for hours. I really dig it. You know, so last year I fell in love with the Springfield, and I still think that bike is excellent. I think that's probably the bike that I would end up with if I were going to get a new Indian motorcycle. I love the Springfield Dark Horse. We've got one on the truck today at the demo event that I'll probably ride. But as you know, last year at our demo event, I fell in love with that thing. I think personally, I may have swayed a few people towards one at the dealership just because I talk about it so much. I love that bike. It rides so nice. It's so plush feeling. The motor is excellent. Of course, it's the same motor that's in this motorcycle. But I have to say, I think I like how compact this bike feels. I feel like the Springfield is a bigger motorcycle. You know, like maybe it's a little bigger whenever you're in tight places, you know, backing it in or whatever. But maybe if you want a bike that you want to maybe do your long rides on, but you also want something that, hey, I'm just going to hop on the bike and take it down, you know, ride it for 30 minutes or something like that. This is a bike you could do almost anything on, and you could comfortably ride it all day long. I really dig it. And I think one thing you get on, well, actually one thing I know that you get on this bike that you don't get on the Springfield is you get this setup right here. You don't have any kind of navigation or adjustability with the ride and all of the information that you get with this smart tack. I don't know, smart speedo. What do they call it? They just call it a touch screen with ride command. But you get this nice touch screen set up front here on the top levels of the Chief, right? So the Chief Limited, I think, the Chief Dark Horse, the Bobber Dark Horse, the Super Chief, and the Sport Chief, I believe all get this set up. Don't hold me to that exactly, because some of them do have the analog setup, but the versions that you get with this setup, you don't get anything like this on a Springfield. And this might be something that would sway me, just because it's so nice to have it all right there. Yeah, of course, you could mount your phone and use your phone. And the great thing about all Indian motorcycles is they now come with that USB port up here, so you can charge your phone right on your handlebars, no problem. Or you could charge a myriad of other devices. Maybe if you're living in 2014 and you have a Garmin, you could charge your Garmin on the handlebars. But it's got a lot of features, I think, that are awesome and more high-tech versus the Springfield. So that's one thing that might sway me this way, actually, now that I'm out here on it. I really like it. Yeah, we're just kind of doing some low-speed side back and forth here. It feels really nice. Really well-balanced motorcycle. You can ride this thing super slow. Never take your feet off. We're going to come to a stop. Never touch. Never really even took our feet off of the floorboards. Very well-balanced motorcycle. And it does have all of the high-tech accoutrement with the engine, right? Obviously, it's fuel injected, but you get your rear cylinder deactivation, stuff like that. So on a hot day like this, it's not too hot between your legs. Man, this motor's great. And I gotta say, I didn't know what to think about the stock seat. I've always thought it might be something that I would change or upgrade, but Now that I'm riding it, I think I'd probably just leave it the way it is. Feels good. It's got good pressure points. It's not sitting weird on my tailbone or anything like that. Sometimes these like low pro seats like this, they kind of interact with my tailbone area. I don't really like the way it feels, but this bike feels good. Man, it sounds really good. And this bike has a stock exhaust on it, so this is not one of those bikes I feel like you're going to need to put the, you know, loud aftermarket pipes on or anything like that, which I'm not a huge fan of anyway. I really think I'm not like the biggest believer in the loud pipes save lives thing. Because by the time they hear you, you're already past them in the grand scheme of things. Oh yeah, this bike feels great. It's got a good lean angle on it too, honestly. I haven't felt the feelers once. Or I guess this thing's got floorboards, so I don't know how the feelers work on floorboards. Whew! It is so hot, I've got sweat in my eyeballs. Okay. Oh my goodness. I had to stop and wipe my eyes there. That was getting sketchy for a second. It's so hot. It's so hot. Alright, so another ride video, another love story. I'm in love with this thing. I think we probably need to ride some Harleys to spread the love around the channel a little bit. Obviously, I get the chance to ride a lot of Indian motorcycles. And I love Harleys, don't get me wrong. This is not like one of those channels where I love one thing and hate another or whatever. I like it all, man. You know that probably if you've watched any of my videos. I think I fall in love with every motorcycle I've ever ridden. One thing I'll say about this thing, as we're sitting here, it's very hot today. And we've got this primary cover over here. I don't know if you can see that, but the chrome. This bike's been ridden an awful lot today. It's been very popular on the truck. And man, is that primary hot. If you are not going to ride this bike in shorts, and I'm wearing thinner pants today, and I'm feeling a lot of heat off that primary and off of the clutch side over here. Or sorry, off the other side of the engine a little bit. So, you know, it's an air-cooled motorcycle. It gets a little bit hot whenever it's 97 degrees and you've got, you know, every Tom, D, and Harry, we'll say, riding the thing today because it's a very beautiful motorcycle. The sun's out. This paint is glistening. And, yeah, it's been very popular today. So hopefully it gets a little break after I get done with it. This bike needs to cool down a little bit. The paint is so beautiful. We'll take another look at it at the end of the video. We'll close out with that just because it's so gorgeous, this motorcycle. I actually love the chrome. I know a lot of people are into the blacked out look, and I am one of them. I like blacked out bikes, but there's something about this bike, just it being more classically styled, and the chrome is not too overdone, even though the entire engine is basically one big hunk of chrome. It just looks well done. It's tastefully done, let's say that way. And I just really dig it. Yeah. Maybe that's the title of the video. I really dig the Indian Super Chief. All right. It's been Scotty with Evel KeStriegel, guys. Thanks for watching another ride video. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for the negative comments. I like to hear it all. Tell me how stupid I am, huh? How about it? I'll check you guys later.